Let's begin with you yourself. Have you ever hated someone? No, not that simple kind of dislike. I mean, that strange feeling when you hear their name and something inside you tightens, as if your body decided to hate them before your mind even had the chance to think. Maybe it was a coworker, maybe an ethnic group, maybe someone on the internet you've never even met. Strange, isn't it? How can we hate someone we do not even know? Maybe because hatred is not always truly ours. Imagine it is 2 a.m., you are tired, you scroll through your phone, you watch a video, someone is shouting. These people are the reason the country is falling apart. You scroll past it. Next video, the same message, again tomorrow, again next week. And one day, without realizing how it happened, you are no longer just watching videos. Slowly, you are beginning to hate another human being. That is how hatred enters the mind, quietly, not like an explosion, like a smoke. We usually think hatred is a violent emotion, but psychologists say hatred often begins with fear of being replaced, fear of not being enough, fear that maybe life did not turn out the way we hoped it would. And the human mind loves finding someone to blame because accepting the complexity of life is difficult, but finding an enemy is easy. Imagine a man named Ali. Ali works in a small office. His salary is low, his life feels heavy. Every night he returns home exhausted, with the feeling that nobody really sees him. Then one day, someone tells him, "Your problem is those people. If they didn't exist, your life would be better." And suddenly, Ali feels relief. Why? Because now his pain has a name, a face, an enemy. Hatred gives wounded people a sense of meaning, and that is exactly what makes it dangerous. The book Beautifying History Through the Engineering of Hatred in Academia explains how governments, media systems, and even universities sometimes reshape history in ways that make hatred toward an old enemy feel natural. Hatred is not always born naturally, sometimes it is taught, like a language, like a habit. But perhaps the most frightening part is this: people filled with hatred are not always evil people. Sometimes they look exactly like you and me, people who are simply tired, lonely, humiliated, or invisible. And hatred gives them the feeling of power, even if only for a moment. Have you ever noticed that the people who spread the most hatred often carry the least peace inside themselves? It is almost as if there is a wound inside them, constantly searching for a victim. Carl Jung once wrote, everything that irritates us about other can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Sometimes we do not hate other people. Sometimes we are running away from parts of ourselves. Hatred often begins in very small places. In schools, when a child is mocked because of their accent, in families where one person is talked about negatively for years, in relationships where someone constantly whispers, everyone is against you, and slowly the mind learns to divide the world into the two groups, us and them. History shows us something terrifying. Whenever human beings become too obsessed with us versus them, disasters is usually close behind. Before the Rwanda genocide, radio stations repeatedly referred to an ethnic groups as a cockroaches. In Nazi Germany, Jewish were blamed for nearly every national problem, and every time the story began in the same simple way, repetition, repeating a fear, repeating an enemy, repeating the idea that if they disappear, life will finally become better. But here is the truth, hatred never truly brings peace. It is like drinking salt water. The more you consume, the thirstier you become. Maybe that is why some people seem addicted to anger. And when there is no enemy, the mind creates one. So, what is the cure? Maybe it begins with one simple question: what if I had lived their life? That single question can crack the wall between us and them. Psychologists says one of the closest thing to a cure for hatred is genuine human contact, seeing people's stories, hearing their pain, realizing that most human beings are not evil, just wounded. Perhaps hatred's greatest victory is not that it makes us angry, but that it makes us forget the humanity of the person standing in front of us, their fears, their memories, their loneliness, their wounds. And maybe the healing of the world begins the moment when human being truly sees another human being again. Guys, like, subscribe, and give a comment.